Arizona Cardinals head east. They've lost 3 in a row, 8 of their last 9. Keep putting scares into teams with playoff aspirations, though, which their Week 13 opponents are. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't playing much better lately, having lost 3 straight, and maybe lost even more than that in LA.
And as he tumbled down, immediately went grabbing up at that left shoulder.
Man, the Bucs are the latest team that feels cursed. Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and now they may not have Baker Mayfield. Didn't look good last week versus LA's top scoring defense either before he got hurt. 41 yards on 19 pass attempts. That's a minuscule 2.2 per attempt, kind of figure running backs get benched for. Threw 2 picks for a lowly 32 rate, and just because you can listen to Cindy drone on about her boyfriend doesn't mean you can step in and play quarterback at the NFL level. Teddy Bridgewater would go if Baker can't. He only threw for 62 yards on 15 tries, so not much better. Offense sputtered to a 7-point showing.
Bridgewater chased by Stewart. Teddy flipped it to get rid of it, and the pass is incomplete.
Baker and Teddy got sacked twice apiece, too.
Bridgewater thought about taking off. Chased by Verse, tossed by Verse.
Only the 3rd time they've taken 4 in a game, and now they get a Cardinals pass rush. Just dropped Trevor Lawrence 3 times, scored on a fumble recovery. Their secondary picking him off 3 times, too.
Cards again, rush 4. Lawrence's pass is picked. Buda Baker.
Zona's DBs also gave up 3 touchdowns and over 250 yards to him, 93 yards allowed to Brenton Strange, 71 and a touchdown to Parker Washington, 50 and a score to Jacoby Myers. Ended up giving up 27 points to the Jaguars, so 27 plus points allowed in 5 of their last 6.
Into the end zone, it's Myers!
They will have to deal with Godwin, only 9 yards on 4 targets versus the Rams, 12 yards for Sterling Shepard, 21 each for Tez Johnson and Cade Otton, Emeka Ibuka with 32. It was a rough week for that passing attack. On the down low, Cardinals allowed Travis Etienne to hit at 5.7 a run, 86 yards. Normally better than that against the run. They could face Irving this week, have to wait and see how he feels, but he's supposed to practice all week. Sean Tucker, 42 yards, 3.5 in last week's loss. Rachaad White, 38 yards, 5.4 per carry at least.
Rachaad White running to the left. He'll have 16 in the first down at 44-yard line.
Still, lots of things to fix for Tampa's offense, and Tampa's defense has just as many issues to correct. Gave up 34 points to Matthew Stafford and company. Tampa's allowed 28-plus points, 3 straight games now.
A high snap that he brings down. Davante Adams got another one! Touchdown!
Secondary gave up 3 touchdowns to Stafford, over 270 yards, no picks, a 122 rate allowed, and now they get Jacoby Brissett, who's letting it fly on the regular, 317 yards in their loss to Jacksonville, a touchdown, no picks. He threw 49 times, after throwing 57 times the week before, 44 times the week before that.
Brissett hit on the release, delivers a strike nonetheless.
He's gone for 250-plus yards in 6 straight. He's available at home if you check in on him. Took 6 sacks week 12. That's 5 to 6 sacks taken in 4 of his last 5. Part of why the offense only accounted for 17 points.
Brissett, feeling the hate, Brissett smothered.
Tampa's pass rush, only 1 Stafford takedown, 35 chances. DBs ended up giving up 97 yards to Puka Nacua, 62 and 2 touchdowns to Davante Adams, and now here comes Michael Wilson, who's gone for 100-plus yards in back-to-back games.
Jacoby Brissett putting the Cardinals on his back. A majestic throw to Wilson.
Trey McBride, 79 yards week 12.
Completes here, it's McBride. His star tight end picks up 14.
McBride with 8 to 10 catches and 70-plus yards, 5 of his last 6. Brissett likes him. Also found Greg Dortch for a touchdown and 53 yards last week.
That's going to be a first down and more. Dortch gonna stroll in for the Cardinals touchdown.
Would be nice to get some kind of run game going. Bam Knight, 10 attempts, 12 yards. Team finished with just 55 yards on the ground last week, 2.8 per carry. Kind of the norm at this stage. Stopping the run wasn't a problem for the Buccaneers. Held Kyron Williams to 46 yards, 3.8 per attempt. Cards-Bucks tied up 11-11 overall. No playoff meetings ever. First ever Tampa win over the Birds, the first time they ever met, 1977.
Mark Cotney played strong safety with the run-stopping ability of a cornerback without sacrificing his pass coverage talent. While many of the Tampa Bay interceptions were the result of excellent coverage in the secondary, others were the result of the various pass rush options provided by the 3-4 and the outstanding charge of team most valuable player Leroy Selman. Only in his second season, Selman is already recognized as one of the finest and fiercest defensive linemen in the league.
Two teams that just enjoyed their bye-bye-byes. Washington at home this week. Commanders 3-8 record, not really what schedulers had in mind when they stuck them in the Sunday Night Football slot. They take on the Broncos, who more than deserve to play in the spotlight. Denver Stampedes in on an 8-game win streak.
For today, Lutz in the clutch, and the Broncos have won it.
Have to start with Orange Crush 3.0, the most lopsided aspect about this matchup. Washington's point-challenged offense trying to come up with some scratch against a defense that's more or less won Denver's last 3 games for them, held each offense faced under 20 points. Their play versus Kansas City's, the punctuation mark as they hit their break.
Defensive force, the sack specialists.
They're on a historic pace.
They've held 7 of 11 teams under 20 points this year. Washington's battered 5 straight games without scoring 23, unable to crack that meager barrier, 7 of 11 outings.
Mariota wrapped up, and down he goes.
Who is stepping into the ring for Washington in this one? Would love to see Jaden Daniels return from his elbow injury. Only 6 games played this year, 2-4 record, 8 touchdowns against 2 INTs, a 94 rating, 197 yards passing per game, 41 a game rushing.
This play fake here, he reads it, and everybody just collapses on the dive back.
Clearly more dangerous than Marcus Mariota, but Marcus is a solid plan B, 7 TDs, 5 INTs, plenty fast still, so similar threat when he takes off at least, neither having the kind of year that would intimidate Denver's DBs though. Holding quarterbacks to a 58% completion rate, under 60 is elite. To a 78 rating, under 80 is elite. 6.3 yards per attempt, top shelf stuff. No team is allowed fewer touchdowns through the air.
Thinking you're going to get an easy check down. Fungus says no and almost intercepted it again.
Plus, they expect to get back super corner Patrick Surtain from injury, plus linebacker Alex Singleton, who's one of the guys who could get the call to blitz the quarterback. They have 5 dudes with 4+ sacks. Jonathan Cooper has 7.5. Nick He's So Pretty Bonito leads them with 9.5.
Important Bonito off to an incredible start this year. Whoa, that's a wicked shot.
Washington's quarterbacks have been planted 27 times in 11 games, so you'd think more are coming in this one.
Mariota stays on his feet, spins, and now he's taken down by Brian Branch.
It was looking like Terry McLaurin was trending to return from his injury to play this week. Only 4 games played, leads the team with 50 yards per game.
Just lobs it up for McLaurin. Did he get him down?
Deebo Samuel leads in total receiving yards and touchdowns with 5, averaging 47 per squeaky bike ride.
On 4th down, Mariota throws to the end zone, touchdown!
Just like he dialed it up.
And Zach Ertz, usually the other name you hear called in their passing attack, 35 yards per game, 4 scores.
Rolling right, and then he throws, and it's caught.
Washington's running back game, a two-headed attack. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, 45 yards per game, 4.4 per carry, though he hit the break on a 6-game streak of sub 3.7 games. Chris Rodriguez, 31 yards per game, 4.7 per run, 7 touchdowns between them.
Hands it off. Rodriguez walks it in for a Commanders touchdown.
It's easier to find an open lane on I-25 or 70 than it is finding one against a Broncos front holding runners to 3.6 per attempt. No team harder to run on.
It's a 2nd and 2, and they're going to lose a yard right here.
So nothing soft about Denver's D, but they're hoping the week off allows their O-face to come to life. Their last 3 wins, 18-15, 10-7, 22-19. They also have a 13-11 victory, a 21-17 W, and a 20-12 dub. Fewer than 21 points, 7 of 11 games.
They can get a first down at the 1. Nick's looking left, going down the middle, and it's batted in the air, incomplete.
Washington's defense might be just what the doctor ordered then. Commanders have given up 24-plus points, 8 of their 11 contests, 5 of their last 6.
Outside, turns the corner. Still going into the end zone.
They did at least hold the last offense they faced to 16. Not sure if it was a Spain thing or a Miami thing. Knicks facing the secondary, giving up the highest rating in the NFL, 8.9 yards per attempt allowed, also dead last.
2nd down, over the middle, into the end zone. Touchdown!
Nix does come in with some drip to his game. He threw for 295 yards last time we saw him, came up big late versus Kansas City, which he's done a number of times this year, so slow starts don't always doom them.
And it's caught by Franklin, and the Broncos are set up now to win the game.
Nix has just lacked consistency, not ability. Has received good pass protection, not a single game with more than 2 sacks taken, 0 to 1 sacks taken in 7 of 11 games.
The defense, and it was Prentice blocking on the 3rd down and again there.
Commanders have picked off a quarterback 25 times in 11 games, respectable. 5.5 of those at the hands of Dorrance Armstrong, though, who's out for the year. Biggest threats to Nix in the backfield, defensive end Jacob Martin, 4.5 sacks, and some guy named Vaughn. Best to familiarize Broncos fans on this guy. He's a vet type, been in the league for a while. He's a chicken farmer, wears glasses. Ring any bells? No? Well, this Miller guy has 5 sacks.
Geno Smith will be sacked. Von Miller.
When Nix lets it fly, Pat Bryant, 21 yards per game, season-high 82 yards versus Kansas City, 40-plus yards in 3 of his last 4, so the rookie is getting more looks lately.
Still has it. He's going to go down the field. He's got his man, Bryant.
Fellow rookie Troy Franklin, second on the team with 46 yards per game.
Going down the field, and it's caught over the shoulder by Franklin. What a catch by Franklin with Fulton on the coverage.
The duck-duck-goose connection has led to a team-high 5 touchdowns, and Cortland Sutton, the top dog, 59 yards per outing, 4 touchdowns.
Talk about a big-time throw to a big-time player. Was a bullet right into his chest.
Marvin Mims, 26 yards per rodeo. Tight end Evan Ingram, 26. Running back duties are in rookie R.J. Harvey's hands. 11 attempts, 30 yards versus Kansas City in his first go as starter since they lost J.K. Dobbins, and he was having a great year, so they hope Harvey can step up his game. Washington giving up 4.7 a run to running backs in 2025. Average is 4.4, so maybe they're the team he can assert himself against.
Genty gets loose, and Ashton Genty all the way inside the 40 of Washington.
Denver's only 2 losses to teams with winning records. They've taken care of all the sub-500 teams like Washington.
Yardage, and this is an absolutely perfect kick.
Adam Rank, unlikely to be the lone wolf on this week's prediction panel. Like he was when he picked the Broncos to beat the Chiefs, he should make sure to charge everyone this week for jumping on the bandwagon when they didn't believe. Washington-Denver tied up 8-8 all time, so rubber match time. Oh baby, what do you get when you drop the number 2 scoring defense and the number 1 scoring offense into the cage together? Indianapolis Colts at home took their 3rd loss in an OT road affair last week.
And the kick is good. Kansas City survives.
Houston Texans rolling into town, proving once again that KDOT knows what he's talking about because that D of theirs ain't free.
Allen throws off his back foot. Short pitch at the 9-yard line.
Here's how the bullpen is looking at this game. Colts are the number 1 scoring team in the NFL. Our number 1 defense just got done with a top 5 scoring offense. Stonewalled Josh Allen and the mighty Bills held him to 12 points, 5 for 16 on 3rd down, 0 for 2 in the red zone.
Well, sooner or later, Will Anderson was going to get a sack, and there it was.
We're taking on Daniel Jones this week. Our secondary just picked off Allen twice, held him to a sub-70 rate. Still, no team holding quarterbacks to a lower rating for the year. Only team with more picks than touchdowns allowed. Can't look at their D like it isn't a receipt.
Playing zone, reading Josh Allen's eyes, and gets right into that passing lane.
And Jones faces a crazed pass rush. Think they're out there making babies named Mercedes without a Mercedes-Benz and 4 24-inch rims? In this case, that's Will Anderson and Daniil the QB Hunter. The pair bagged it up 4.5 times last week. Texans with a ridiculous 8 sacks of Allen. He's never been dumped that many times in a game in his career.
Runs around again, down he goes again. Daniil Hunter.
Jones didn't take a single sack versus Kansas City on 31 pass attempts, but he took 7 versus Atlanta his previous outing. He took 5 the week before that to Pittsburgh. And even though he wasn't dropped by the Chiefs, their top scoring offense was held to 20 points again. That's 3 times this season they've finished with 20, all 3 losses.
Fake to Taylor, go to the end zone, and it's incomplete for Pierce.
Jones, though, isn't coming in off as bad a game as the previous 2 duds that accompanied those losses. No picks. He's a 99 rate a week ago.
Top, throws back in the end zone. Are the feet down? Yes, it is Ogletree.
But it was not an Indiana Jones performance. Just 181 yards, a meager 5.8 yards per attempt. Each game now that he hasn't been good enough for a 100-plus rate game, they've lost. Jonathan Taylor also looking to rebound. He was held under 4 yards per carry, 58 yards, 3.6 per. He's had 2 subpar games in his last 3.
3rd and 1. And they don't get no yards, they get a loss of 2 yards.
2 duds sandwiched in between a 244-yard game. He's followed each sub-4 yard per carry outing this year with 100-plus yard showings.
When you give that kind of space to Jonathan Taylor, lucky you didn't go the distance.
When it comes to stopping Taylor, Texans have handled most backs they've run into, but they did just struggle with James Cook, the one other back having a year like Taylor's. They gave up over 110 yards to Cook on 6.8 a run, allowed him to get away for a 45-yard TD.
He's out in front, and Cook will take it all the way for a touchdown.
Texans defense has struggled stopping mobile quarterbacks in 2025, but they did hold Allen to 20 yards rushing. Their secondary did give up 250-plus yards to him through the air, 110 allowed to Khalil Shakir, 45 to Ty Johnson. Jones options when he lets her fly. Josh Downs, only 10 yards on 6 targets versus Kansas City. Alec Pierce pulled in 1 catch, 26 yards. Michael Pittman scored again, has 7 for the year, 8 targets, just 27 yards versus the Chiefs though. Ashton Doolin, a 48-yard reception on his 1 target. And Tyler Warren, 5 grabs, 45 yards.
He's got Warren taken off and down to the 8-yard line before he's tripped up.
Texans defense would be happy in theory with another 23 points from its offense like they got last week. They don't ask much, and that is 2 of their last 3 they've scored 23 plus.
To the end zone, caught, touchdown! Higgins.
Would be nice to convert more than 2 of 12 on 3rd down. They did cash in 2 of 4 red zone chances at least, which they have not been good at most games. Now they try and keep their respectable momentum going, but Indianapolis' defense is no joke either. 23 points last week, and Kansas City needed OT to get that many. They held Patrick Mahomes TD-less. Their pick of him set Indy up for a short touchdown.
Ball tip and caught at the 5.
They turned away 5 of 6 Chiefs red zone chances. Now they turn their sights on who? C.J. Stroud, who's trying to get clearance to return from his concussion, or Davis Mills, who threw both of his touchdown passes last week while visiting Scott Hansen's pad. Not a lot of yards, but a 90 rate for the second game in a row. Admirable play for a backup.
Going to the air. Checking it down. Left side. Catches.
Mills didn't take a single sack versus Buffalo. He did go down 4 times the week prior. The same number Indy dropped Mahomes, Latu, not only with that pick, but also with his team-leading 6th sack.
Mahomes at the 10, in trouble, and is sacked.
Colts did face 46 Mahomes pass attempts, gave up over 350 yards to him, 43 to Travis Kelce, 59 to Xavier Worthy, and 141 to Rashee Rice, who really hurt them late. Linebacker Zaire Franklin was tagged with 100-plus yards allowed. This week, they squabble up with Dalton Schultz, 4 targets, 8 yards last week. Jalen Noel, 4 yards. Jaden Higgins, a team-high 9 targets, scored for the 3rd time in his last 5 outings.
Get some space on the outside against Tre'Davious White. Good job there by the rookie, the toe tap.
Only 38 yards, though. Christian Kirk with his second best showing as a Texan, 54 yards and a score.
Play fake, pass, wide open, touchdown.
And Nico Collins led the team as usual, 55 yards.
The pass is caught, so there's completion number 2, and they finally go to Nico Collins.
The on-again, off-again rush attack of Houston's was kind of on versus the Bills. Nick Chubb, 6 attempts, 2.7 per carry, but Woody Marks with a nice 74 yards, 4.6 per jaunt. He's hit at 4.5 or better in 2 of his last 3.
Here's Marks. Off to the races he goes before he is stopped.
He takes on a Colts defense, holding running backs to a nice low 3.9 a carry. Yeah, they gave up 104 yards to Kareem Hunt, but he ran 30 times, so just 3.5 per attempt.
Hunt. Ball's on the ground. Ball's still on the ground, and the Colts have covered it up.
This one has all sorts of implications riding on it. Houston has taken 3 straight from Indy, 4 of the last 5, but the Colts have dominated the overall series. They won 15 of the first 16 meetings between them, including their first ever bout in 2002. It might have had something to do with that guy who's famous for his motivational talks.
In Week 13, Houston's David Carr received even less AFC Southern hospitality.
Chad Bratzky got him back at the 15. Bratzky just notorious in his pursuit of David Carr on that play.
Imposing their will, the Colts lassoed Carr 6 times. A trio of sacks from Brad Scioli ensured that neither team from Texas would cross a Colt goal line in 2002. The dimming of the Lone Stars meant a lone score would be needed to win both the Houston and Dallas games.
Manning looks to throw, pump fake, looks again, throws the slant, touchdown, Pollard! Great move by 81.
The former basketball player at Bradley spikes it over the goalpost.
Carolina Panthers back home this week, hoping some home cooking restores their winning ways, but that won't be easy, being the LA Rams, the #1 team in the NFL, is rolling into town on a 6-game win streak.
Fires it as far as he can. The pass is intercepted as this half comes to an end.
LA looking more and more the part of Super Bowl favorite with each passing week. They sport the #1 scoring defense in all the land and the favorite to win MVP, so not many holes to exploit. Matthew Stafford is cooking. Completed over 70% of his passes last week, 270-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a 122 rate.
Pass for Stafford in the middle of the field, complete to Nakua as the Rams continue to roll on offense.
Stafford has thrown for 2+ touchdowns in 9 of their 11 games. Over his last 8 games, not a single pick while throwing 25 touchdowns, leads the NFL with 30, leads the league with a 113 rate.
And Stafford's going to throw for it. And it is a touchdown.
Offense, 6th most points per game after dropping 27 on Tampa Bay.
Rams, Adams, got another one! Touchdown!
And now to the Panthers, who do have a defense playing teams tough lately, held San Francisco to 20 points, have held 4 of their last 6 opponents under 21.
Purdy down the middle, and he's picked by Horn.
And Stafford is looking at a secondary coming in off a 3 INT night. Held Brock Purdy to 193 yards, a meager 6 yards per attempt, a lowly 58 rate.
Play action, Purdy. Picked again, 3rd one, 2nd for Horn.
Carolina has held quarterbacks to an 87 rating this season, have 10 INTs, so their play versus the 49ers wasn't fluky per se. Here's the red flags for the matchup. A. J.C. Horn is their top corner, had 2 of the Purdy picks, left the game with a concussion, so not sure if he plays. 2. They only sacked Purdy once. That's normal too. Myles Garrett has more sacks than their entire team. Stafford, only sacked once by the Bucs, still only 2 games where a pass rush has gotten to him 3 times. The longer he has, the harder it is to stay with Devontae and Puka, especially if Horn isn't on one of them. Nakua is knocking on the door of a 1,000-yard year after 10 games played, 97 yards a week ago, basically what he's averaging then.
Puka Nakua on the run, puts his head down to the 28-yard line.
He has the 9th most targets and the 3rd most first downs in the NFL. Adams leads the league in receiving touchdowns with 12, couple more versus Tampa on a 5-game scoring streak.
NFL touchdown reception leader. There's another one.
Tight end Colby Parkinson is on a 3-game TD streak after painting it yellow and blue last week.
Stafford, rocket to the end zone, touchdown Parkinson. Just a perfect start.
Stafford likes tight ends. Never know which one he could tap game to game, but it's always Kyren Williams he hands off to for the most part. Kyren only 12 attempts last week, 46 yards, under 4 per attempt, a rare dud for him. Carolina could be tough on him if they play the run like they did versus the 49ers. They held CMC to 3.7 yards per carry.
And he is bottled up at the line by A'Shawn Robinson, and he had friends.
Now, most defenses have held McCaffrey under 4 a carry, and Carolina's play versus running backs hasn't been great this year, so don't be shocked if Kyren gets back on track, which is what Bryce Young is trying to do. He went from a 448-yard game to a 169-yard game versus San Fran, 2 INTs.
2nd down and 8. Young over the middle and intercepted.
Finishing under 200 yards has been the norm for Bryce, only surpassed the meager marker twice all year. His play last week, behind an offense only capable of putting up 9 points, just 1 for 7 on 3rd down, only 2 red zone trips, turned away both times.
Young keeps, he's got a man and he's picked!
Their offense was handed the ball 3 times off turnovers, too, have finished work with less than 17 points in 5 of their last 6 games, under 10 in 3 of those. And now they try and find some scratch versus the #1 scoring defense in football. Move over, Texans. We're going to keep Tampa Bay to 7 to take over the top spot.
Mayfield fires. Did he hang on? Durant took it away.
4th hardest to move the sticks against. 2nd most takeaways. 4th lowest rate allowed at 79. Held Baker Mayfield to 41 yards, a minuscule 2.2 yards per attempt on his 19 pass attempts before he left hurt. Picked him off twice. Handled the girlfriend whisperer with ease as well when he came in.
3rd and 7 to Rachaad White. Got a couple of blockers there, and it got destroyed.
Young only took 1 sack in their loss, but he was up against the team with the fewest in the league. He will not have the same kind of time versus the Rams front 4. They sacked Tampa's QB duo 4 times, Kobe Turner 2, Jared Verse 2.
This Rams defensive front stepping up again.
Rams DBs didn't let a single Buccaneer crack 40 yards receiving. Panthers didn't have a single guy crack it either. T-Mac did score his 5th touchdown of the year at least. McMillan up to 783 yards for the year.
Shoulder fake, end zone shot. He's got the rookie touchdown, McMillan.
Panthers have had some good offensive games when they've run the ball well. Barely used their ground game versus San Francisco. 13 rush attempts in a game that wasn't ever out of hand per se. Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle with just 9 combined attempts. They each averaged over 5 a carry. They combined for over 60 receiving yards too.
Toss to Dowdle over the right side. He's able to break a couple of tackles and still rolling.
Tough sledding for them, though. Only 4 teams allowing less than the 3.8 per carry that LA's holding running backs to. Panthers have playoff and division title aspirations still. LA has home field aspirations, but can't end up back in a tie with Philadelphia. Carolina leads the Rams 13-10 in the grand scheme of things. Weird. Same record they had versus the 49ers prior to playing them last week. 2003 season met in the playoffs, took 2 overtimes to determine the winner.
So the Panthers will have their hands full today, but they're confident that if they can keep this game close, they can win it at the end.
Unable to punch it in, the Panthers instead rolled it in.
Oh, it's a shovel pass. Is it a fumble? Loose ball around the 2-yard line. It goes into the end zone, and there's a big pileup. Panthers have it. It's a touchdown for the Panthers.
To seize their opportunities and a 23-12 lead.
2-1 touchdown. Brad Hoover once again coming below pumps. He's got time. Throws down. Bill Smith at the 45 to the 40. It's free. It's 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. Woo!
New York Jets at home this week, still right on the heels of the Titans in the standings, for the number 1 pick. They welcome the Atlanta Falcons, who aren't quite ready to look ahead just yet.
Cousins wants to take a shot. It's Mooney. It is caught. It's a touchdown.
Hey man, pull up the Corbomite maneuver or balance of terror. Maybe the Doomsday Machine or the Galileo 7. Captain Kirk has pulled off bigger turnarounds, and with the Bucs flailing and hurting, Cousins might not even have to run the table to make the playoffs. Maybe it'll be a year where 8 is enough, like it was for Dick Van Patten. And Kirk O'Chains struts in with some bling to his game. 2 TDs, a healthy 8.7 yards per attempt last week. 107 rate, shiniest his game has looked in a long time.
Cousins under pressure is able to get out of it, looking for Darnell Mooney, and he makes the grab.
So Kendrick drops 1 week, Dick Van Patten in original Star Trek episodes the next? Is this guy 30 or 70? Cousins didn't have his McCoy. Drake London missed last week with a knee injury. Makes the 24 points Atlanta put up more impressive.
Pressure picked up, end zone shot, touchdown, David Sills.
Plenty of things to clean up. 3 for 12 on 3rd down, only 2 trips to the red zone. You're supposed to be able to venture to where no man has gone before, so shouldn't be that hard. The Jets defense, they'll try and fly by, let Baltimore inside the 20 5 times, but turned them away 3 times, held the Ravens to 2 for 11 on 3rd down.
Up, he fakes the throw and he's taken down, and it's 4th down.
That's 4 of their last 6 they've held their opponent under 24 points, playing solid lately. They've also held passing attacks in check during that same run, only 153 yards allowed to Lamar Jackson, held the quarterback with the league's top rating to a 76 rate, have kept 4 of the last 6 passing attacks to fewer than 180 yards.
Intended for Andrews, and Tony Adams, who committed the penalty, is able to break it up.
Only sacked him once, too. Held every Raven pass catcher to less than 31 yards, save Zay Flowers, who got him for 58. Only one Falcon with more than 40 yards versus the Saints, Darnell Mooney, 74, and a trip to Bob Ross land.
Sacked twice on third down. This time he delivers outside to Darnell Mooney.
And the Spock in our tale, Bijan Robinson, 37 receiving yards, 70 rush yards on 5 a pop. On a nice 3-game run, 70-plus yards in each, 4.5 or better in each, he still has hope.
Here's Robinson. This is where he's dangerous. In space. Sills a block. Robinson chased down.
Again, Jets defense can pose a problem. Gave up 2 TDs to Derrick Henry, but held him to 64 yards, only 3 yards per attempt.
Jackson bobbled the snap, gives it to Henry, and Henry is jumped on from behind.
Their D just hasn't been able to do anything for their O-face. Changing the guy who steers the Jets' offensive bus didn't make much of a difference on the scoreboard last week. Jets with 10 points versus Baltimore, 4 for 11 on third down, only 2 trips across the 20.
Tyrod taking that deep shot, looking for Mitchell, incomplete.
That offense versus a Falcons defense that held a Tyler Shough offense to 3 points. First good defensive showing for them in over a month, 24 to 34 points allowed the previous 4 games. Didn't let Shough throw a TD, picked him off.
Is going to be Watts instead with his first interception since September.
Now they take on Tyrod Taylor, better as a passer than Justin Fields at least, 7.9 yards per attempt, 1 TD, 220-plus yards.
His feet, still chased by Green, throws on the run, he's got a man, and that's a first down for Mitchell.
Didn't raise eyebrows or anything, he threw a pick, low 80s rate. Took 3 sacks, 28 pass attempts. Only 3 teams have allowed more in 2025.
Before he can get away from there, the pressure dialed in on him.
Jets quarterbacks have been bagged up 39 times for 2025, the exact number of bags Atlanta's pass rushers have for the season. Falcons' ability to get to the quarterback, a key to their defensive showing last week, buried Shough 5 times, James Pierce 1.5, Jalen Walker 1, Brandon Dorless 1.5.
Trying to maneuver in the pocket as it collapses, and James Pierce, the rookie out of Tennessee.
Dirty Birds secondary gave up 43 yards to Devin Neal last week, 46 to Jawan Johnson, 70 to Chris Olave. John Mechie is New York's current WR1, 65 yards and a TD versus Baltimore.
Boys, Taylor throws for Mechie. Mechie at the 5, dives, and he is in!
Or maybe Adonai Mitchell is their WR1, 42 yards, had the same number of targets as Mechie.
Taylor with time, and he completes it into Baltimore territory.
Of course, the point is they don't really have a WR1, but they do have an RB1 to hit Atlanta with. Breece Hall only had 44 rush yards versus the Ravens, but he led the team with 75 receiving yards, escaped for a 40-yarder.
It's Breece Hall. Oh, what a spin move by Hall! Breece Hall in the open field.
Falcons defense fairly generous to runners this year. Didn't have any problems with New Orleans' rush attack, though. Alvin Kamara left hurt. They kept Taysom Hill to 17 yards on his 10 rush attempts. Atlanta has beat New York 3 straight times, 5 of the last 6, and the first time they ever met, which wasn't until 1973.
Week 11 found the Falcons in a swampland called Flushing Meadows, Long Island, to face the New York Jets and a fellow they called Joe Willie. It seemed that no matter how atrocious the conditions and the pressure, this Joe Willie guy was still dangerous. As they had for 7 consecutive weeks, the men of the Atlanta defense rose to the occasion, and when it counted, they throttled Joe and his Jets. Bob Lee again came up with the big plays, this time with 2 rookie wide receivers who had replaced injured Ken Burrow and Al Dodd. First, Tom Gerdine scored his first pro touchdown, and then Lewis Neal scored his first. The Falcons had won their 7th straight, 28-20, and assured the best season record in Falcon history.
New York Giants hit the road for some Monday Night Football action, worthy of it for no other reason than they are a pretty entertaining watch. They are in New England this week, Pats at home after officially getting the call from Principal Rooney last week. That's 9 times now the Patriots have won a game.
Flacco, oh, they're bringing everybody. Hit as he throws, and broken up, incomplete, and that is it.
So we have a 10-win team on a 9-game win bender versus a 2-win team on a 6-game losing streak. Why, aside from upsets happen, should anyone expect it to be close? Well, the Patriots did almost get tripped up by an also-ran, and the G-Men just put a scare into another playoff-caliber team, taking the Lions to OT, behind what might be the play of the year.
Olszewski with the pass. Whoa! Into the end zone for a Giants touchdown, Jameis Winston. Unreal.
What if they hit New England with another Jameis special? I figured after pulling the ultimate spin move, stiff arm Madden combo, Winston would just pass out from joy. Plus, remember, Blue has worn the major underdog hat before when facing New England, right? But despite Drake May and his offense sputtering versus the worst defense in football, New England fans will tell you they aren't a one-dimensional squad. Good luck crossing the 24-point threshold against them. Only one team has done it in 2025. They held Cincinnati to 20 points, 3 for 13 on third down, only one red zone trip allowed.
3rd down and 5, crumbling pocket, here they come, down he goes.
Their secondary, familiar with backup quarterbacks who have made some waves this year, held Joe Flacco to 183 yards, 19 of 37 passing, under 5 yards per attempt, a low 60s rate.
Oh, it's picked off. That's a pick 6. Kiss him goodbye.
They didn't have to deal with Hawk Tua Chase, of course, and their play versus the pass hasn't always been tip-top this year. And now their corners have to be ready to defend Jameis's long balls. That is, if Jackson Dart can't go again. Hard to know if he'll make it back this week. Winston, though, aired it out for 366 yards last week, over 10 yards per attempt, a couple of touchdowns.
As Winston throws to the end zone, caught for a touchdown.
Archer and company call it phrasing. On the pass rush front, Winston only took 1 sack, 36 pass attempts. Wasn't an issue in his first start versus Green Bay either. New England's pass rush only made it to Flacco's house once, 37 chances too. Average sack total for 2025. Their DBs only let one Bengal go for 36 plus yards. They held T. Higgins to 31. Now they try and slow Wandale. Robinson struts in off 156 yards on 9 catches and a score.
Fires downfield into the end zone. Touchdown! Wandale Robinson!
That was Wandale's second 100-yard game, the first since week 2, 36 to 62 yards in the 4 games prior to going off last week. Theo Johnson comes off a season-high 77-yard day of work.
Fires, and it is caught by the tight end out of Penn State.
Isaiah Hodgins enters off a 42-yard one-score game.
From the end zone, airing it out, and it is caught!
That was just the second game he's played this season, 57 yards the week before, so he's making a mark, and so is Tyrone Tracy, who's trying to remind everyone he shouldn't get lost in the Scattaboo shuffle. 68 receiving yards versus Detroit, along with 62 on the ground, 100-plus scrimmage yards back-to-back games.
Wide open, Tyrone Tracy inside the Lions' 30.
Tracy wasn't especially efficient at 3.1 a carry, neither was Devin Singletary, 3.4 a run on his 14 attempts. So what do they get with New England's defense? The one holding backs to the second lowest yards per carry mark in 2025, or the one that gave up 107 yards to Chase Brown on 5.6 per adventure?
And Brown with the big hole up the middle, and then stopped in the secondary.
Could see lots of runs in this matchup based on Week 12. Giants' attempt at an upset fell short in large part because their defense gave up over 200 yards to Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 long touchdowns, a 69-yarder in OT. They also gave up 45 receiving yards to him and a touchdown, along with 149 yards and a touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown. 279 yards to Jared Goff, 2 TDs, 34 points in total, made sure their stars weren't hungry heading into Turkey Day week.
On first and goal, it is Gibbs, reaches across, touchdown.
Made Detroit's big three look very big. Drake isn't really part of a big three. Well, that one song claims he was, but Kenny and May would fire back, forget the big three, there's just the big me. 294 yards in his latest rap battle, over 8 yards per attempt, 1 TD.
Escaping traffic, wide open, Henry, that's a Patriot touchdown.
255 plus yards in 7 of his last 8. He did throw a pick, and that's 1 in 4 of his last 5. Hasn't slowed down their offense until last week. It was a pick 6, and New England's defense accounted for 7 points, means their offense was only good for 20 points, wasn't at its best.
That is picked off on the play. Blockers ahead. He is in and a pick 6.
May only took 1 sack, 35 pass attempts. They did lose rookie left tackle Will Campbell, who hurt his knee. 3 straight games, May's taken just 1 sack. New York's pass rush features Mr. Burns, stuck on 13 sacks, didn't have one of the 3 Goff bags. Darius Alexander with a pair, though.
Goff under pressure, and he'll be sacked once again.
St. Brown and Gibbs were the only 2 guys New York had issue with last week. New England doesn't have guys quite on that level. Travion Henderson rushed for 66 yards, 15 receiving yards.
Henderson again, first down run. He bolts right through.
Under 4 yards per carry again. Back-to-back games in 3 of his last 4 now. Only 1 Pats pass catcher marching in off a 40-plus yard game. Kayshon Boutte was back, 15 yards versus Cincinnati. Stephon Diggs, baby keep him up maybe, 20 yards. Mac Hollins, 30 yards. Demario Douglas, a 37-yard reception. What a throw that was.
May going deep, and he's got a great deep arm. Caught! Demario Douglas with a big-time catch.
And May liked his tight end matchups last week. Austin Hooper with 39 yards. Hunter Henry, the star of their Week 12 show, season high 115, previous high 90 back in Week 3, paint job last week.
They go underneath, and it's caught by the tight end. Busy today. Hunter Henry out of bounds.
G-Men and the Pats tied up 7-7 all time. Too many New England fans at the game preview guy bar with how things have gone for these 2 teams. Bad business to pour out 2007 and 2011 memories when no one is ordering them up. So let's check out the first time the Patriots beat the Giants. Sherman, take us back to 1974.
But as competitive as the Giants were that day, Mac Herron returns carried the Patriots beyond the grasp of defeat. Trailing 14-7, Herron's 62-yard kickoff return ignited the Patriots' offense. And on the next play, a leaping catch by Randy Vitaha made it a tie game. From there, the Patriots went on to claim a 28-20 victory, which spoke well of a young team whose emotions could easily have let down following their dizzying upset of Miami. But the game's most important factor was not a singular play or player. It was the defense. For throughout the afternoon, it pounded the Giants' offense and stripped them of their ground attack.
Minnesota Vikings roadbound this week. Season almost in Metallica land, close to fading to black as they've lost 5 of their last 6, and now they have to play in Seattle, possibly with a QB that's never started an NFL game, against a Seahawks bunch that's won 5 of its last 6.
This is a situation where this team is tight and focused, and they come in and they get the win.
Oh man, Sam Darnold sat around all week telling everyone, this is just another game. Sure it is, Sam. Sure, you don't want to stick it to the franchise that passed on you for a younger model. I mean, this would be a sweet chance at revenge, except the revenge has already kind of been served, hasn't it? Darnold having another good year.
Darnold to the end zone, and Seattle storms down the field.
Meantime, Skull Nation has been booing J.J. McCarthy, and why not? Last week, 87 yards passing, 4.6 per attempt, no touchdowns, 2 picks for a 34 rate.
J.J. McCarthy, he has struggled. They are 4-6. You can understand the growing frustration.
And how does Justin Jefferson feel watching Jackson Smith-Njigba benefit from Darnold's play? Maybe Jefferson would be chasing Megatron. Seattle's all-time single-season receiving yards king, JSN, going for over 1,300 yards to take out DK Metcalf's previous team record. The big Sir Mix-a-Lot butt? Smith-Njigba passed him in 11 games. Now he goes after Calvin Johnson's 1,964-yard record. He inched closer to it after dropping 167 yards on Tennessee, scored twice.
Another big play. Jackson Smith-Njigba still on his feet at 56 yards downfield.
So we have a Seattle offense that just lit the scoreboard for 30 points.
Going up top for Jackson Smith-Njigba, drops it in the bucket, and he will backpedal for a touchdown.
Scuffled on third down versus the Titans, but that's 27-plus points in 4 of their last 5 against a Vikings defense that gave up 23 points to Green Bay, that's their season average, have allowed 23-plus points in 5 of their last 6.
Straight ahead, got hit at the line, kept on churning, and got in.
Secondary played Jordan Love better than most of the quarterbacks they've faced, held him to 139 yards, a sub-90 rate.
Over the head of Wilson and incomplete. Again, putting the Packers to the test here on 3rd and long.
They have held the last 3 passing attacks under 185 yards. Only sacked Love once. Darnold only took 1 sack versus the Titans. That's rarely been a problem for him. No other Hawk with more than 30 receiving yards versus Tennessee. Kenneth Walker, second with 30, added 71 rush yards on 6.5 per as well.
Here's Walker down the sideline. Nice run on first down.
Zach Charbonnet with 35 yards and a TD too. Nice 5.8 a run. Minnesota gave up 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards to Emmanuel Wilson.
Wilson again reaches for the goal line. Packers make him pay.
Held him to 3.8 a carry though, holding backs under 4 per for 2025. Purple People Eaters have a lot of pressure to keep this a low-scoring affair because their offense is not a high-scoring outfit. 6 points versus Green Bay, that's fewer than 20 points 4 of their last 5 times out.
Everything that completely go wrong for the Vikings offensively today has now gone wrong.
So at least Max Brosmer doesn't have big shoes to fill if he makes his first start ever. McCarthy is iffy as he's in concussion protocol. Hawks secondary did just give up over 250 yards to Cam Ward. A touchdown, no picks, a 91 rate. It was maybe the best Ward has looked this year.
Ward on the rollout, fires to the end zone, and it's DK with the touchdown.
Still, Brosmer facing a group holding quarterbacks to a nice low 84 rate, 4th lowest yards per attempt allowed, held Ward to 5.5. And how will Brosmer handle their pass rush? Added 4 more bags to their total. Only 3 teams have more sacks. Derek Hall, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy with 1 each last week. Williams and Murphy with a half dozen QB takedowns in 2025.
Pressure comes, Ward's in trouble. Williams has him in the sack, and he brings up 4th down.
McCarthy took 5 sacks versus Green Bay, and he only threw 19 times. He got hit 10 times, too. Only 3 teams' quarterbacks have been planted more.
Just causes such chaos along the front. Nowhere for McCarthy to go, and just continues to hold the ball a little too long.
As usual, Justin Jefferson, the only Minnesota pass catcher with more than 40 yards, led them with 48.
He steps up and wings one for Jefferson. He pulls it in.
Been a long time since he cracked 100 yards in a game. TJ Hawkinson with just 19 yards versus Green Bay. Jalen Naylor, Jordan Addison, just 1 target each, no catches. Their rush attack, at least, comes in with some traction. Jordan Mason, 42 yards on 5.3 a carry. Aaron Jones, 41 yards, 4.6 a run.
Jones again, first 2 plays and a hole off the right side.
Seattle's rush defense held Tennessee to 64 yards, under 3 per carry. These two met last year. Vikings have won the last 2 Seattle-Minnesota matchups. Not many of the current customers in the Game Preview Guy Lounge wearing purple, so we can go there. By there, I mean that one 2015 wildcard game.
It is a brutally cold day. We expect kickoff about -7 degrees with a wind chill of down near -20.
And TCF Bank Stadium is on fire.
Oh, a snap goes far beyond Russell. He slides down, picks it up, on the move, rolls, looks right, down the middle. Tyler Lockett, he's got it in the middle of the field. How in the world did they do that?
Blair Walsh has 5 game-winning field goals to his credit.
Well, this is shorter than an extra point right now.
Snap good, spot down. Walsh's kick is up, and it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
Buffalo hits the road again. Mafia fans once again left wondering, what kind of team are we looking at? Like trying to figure out if it's Mr. Robot talking or Elliott. Bills division title hopes a long shot after losing 2 of their last 3.
Short picked, and the Buffalo Bills are going to come into Houston and get beaten.
They are in Pittsburgh this week. Steelers have also lost 2 of 3 and 4 of their last 6 after coming up short versus Chicago.
4th down, 28 seconds left. They need 6 yards. Rudolph throws, and it's tipped to the line of scrimmage. It's over.
Makes this a critical matchup. Take another loss and it gets dicey. Josh Allen went from fantasy god week 12 to fantasy dad bod week 13. No TDs, a sub 70 rate game, throwing 2 picks, which he's done back-to-back games now, and a pick in 3 straight games too.
Allen throws, tip, intercepted.
You can argue his performance last week and Buffalo's offense as a whole a reflection of facing the scroogiest defense in the NFL, but 12 points versus Houston. 2 weeks earlier, it was 13 points versus Miami, a 14-point dud versus Atlanta week 6, some fine point totals mixed in between, but they can't afford to keep shorting out regardless of who they face.
Under pressure, pocket collapsing, down he goes.
Allen can't afford another octopus's garden. He lost 70 yards on 8 sacks versus Houston, most he's ever taken in a game in his career.
2nd and 10, Allen steps up, look out, runs around again, down he goes again.
TJ Watt is salivating right now. Strip sack recovered in the end zone for a TD kind of sack last week.
Loses the ball and the Steelers jump on top of it. It's a touchdown, and it's TJ Watt.
That, unfortunately, for Pittsburgh Deb, the only time the Steelers tracked Caleb Williams down. They didn't have Alex Highsmith, only 1 sack in each of their last 2 games. Defense gave up 31 points to Chicago, 24-plus points allowed in 4 of their last 6.
Williams downfield, open man, touchdown, DJ Moore.
And the secondary Allen faces gave up 3 touchdowns to Williams in their Week 12 loss, rate over 100, no interceptions.
Williams, a strike to DJ Moore.
Pittsburgh has not played the pass poorly overall, and they held Williams to 19 for 35 passing, under 7 yards per attempt, allowed 46 yards to Luther Burden, 49 to Colston Loveland, 53 to Romo Dunze, though that was 9 targets. Struggled with DJ Moore the most, 2 touchdowns given up to him with 64 yards. Allen did throw for over 250 yards. Khalil Shakir comes in off a good game, 8 catches for a season-high 110 yards after going for -3 the week before. Quite the turnaround.
Nice move by him to get the first down, skirt the sideline.
Rest of the cast Allen's working with: Jackson Hawes, 2 catches, 26 yards a week ago. Gabe Davis, 1 catch, 22 yards. Joshua Palmer, 21 yards. Dawson Knox, 17 yards, and Ty Johnson, who came up with some big grabs for 45 yards.
Johnson gets it. Johnson out past the 35. Johnson will get the first down.
James Cook fans can argue he needs to be relied upon even more. He's the other guy who hits this game flexing. 116 yards, 6.8 yards per carry, a 45-yard touchdown versus the Texans.
Picking and threading his way is Cook. He's out in front, and Cook will take it all the way for a touchdown. touchdown.
Pittsburgh played Chicago's backs well enough, have handled backs this year well enough, holding them to 4.2 after holding DeAndre Swift to 15 yards, Kyle Monangai to 48 yards on 4 per try.
Pitch it. Monangai is brought down in the backfield by Herbig.
The Aaron Rodgers watch will be on all week, of course. Sat out last week with a fractured wrist. Offense only mustered 21 points without him.
Shotgun on 2nd and short. Rudolph to throw it. Looking for a big play. Sideline, and it's intercepted.
Hoping to fire things back up versus a Bills defense whose last 3 games are as follows. Gave up 30 points to Miami, 32 to Tampa, and 23 to a Texans offense that struggled to score consistently this season. They let Houston convert 2 of 4 red zone chances. Red zone offense, something the Texans have been borderline terrible at.
To the end zone, caught, touchdown, Higgins.
With all that said, they did hold Houston to 2 for 12 on 3rd down. They held Davis Mills to 153 yards, didn't pick him off, and didn't sack him once. The pass rush looked unstoppable versus Patrick Mahomes. Since then, just 1 sack in their next 3 games.
Going to the air, checking it down, left side. Catch is at the 37-yard line. It's made.
If Rodgers can't go, more Mason Rudolph. He took 2 sacks to Chicago pass rushers on 31 pass attempts, so not a big deal last week. But Rudolph's nose didn't lead them to much of a passing attack. Threw an early pick, only 1 touchdown, just 171 yards on a lowly 5.5 per attempt for a sub-90 rate.
It has been all screens, dink and dunk behind the line of scrimmage. They have not really opened up the offense, and here we go.
Not one Steeler with 37-plus receiving yards last week. Calvin Austin led the team with 36. Darnell Washington, 22. DK Metcalf, 22. So their best route might be via the ground game. No reason not to load up on the run versus the Bills. They've been super generous to running backs all year. They were to Woody Marks, who they gave up 74 yards to on 4.6 a carry. Marks a sub 4-yard per carry back this year.
Flip back here. Here's Marks. Off to the races he goes.
Pittsburgh's rush attack hits this matchup hot, too. Metcalf scored on a lateral pass. Jalen Warren with 68 yards and a tud. Kenneth Gainwell broke away for a sneaky 55-yard run, 92 yards total. Pittsburgh with 186 rush yards, a season high.
Pitch it to Warren. Nobody there. Warren, touchdown.
Someone's going to bounce back and feel better. The other will feel the climb take on a steeper grade. Bills have beat the Steelers 4 of their last 5 meetings, closed the gap to 4 in the series all time, 4 playoff battles between them, 1974 the first.
The awakening Steeler offense won this one. The Pittsburgh attack took wing as Terry Bradshaw generaled his forces to over 400 yards and 32 points. Led by Franco Harris's 3 touchdowns, the Steeler offense blew away the Bills.
Just when you get around, just slow down so I can hit you like a hook. Okay. And we got all kind of running room. Yeah.
New Orleans Saints take to the road for a trip to Miami, hoping to play road bump, being they are a 2-win team that's lost 5 of their last 6. Dolphins at home this week, nice and rested, and on a 2-game win streak, winners of 3 of their last 4, so who knows? Maybe they can make a late run and shake something up.
And the kick is good. Dolphins win it in Madrid.
Still, this is of course 4 wins versus 2 wins, but pretend Miami pulled an A-Rod and ran the table. That would be 10-7. What do they have to lose by pretending it could happen? Cross the New Orleans bridge, Jets follow, and check out Miami's offense as it pertains to what they could do this week. Wesley Snipes would simply break even on this. This is their point total week by week so far. 8, then up to 27, down to 21, up to 27, down to 24, up to 27, down to 6, up to 34, down to 6, up to 30, down to 16. In theory, turns up in the black this week, and Wesley is a winner.
They're playing for a lot more than just wins and losses in this organization right now.
The Saints defense, they'll try and keep that pattern alive against, giving up 24 points a game for 2025, gave up 24 points to the Falcons last week, who played without Michael Penix and Drake London.
Falcons extend the lead.
New Orleans secondary did pick off Kirk Cousins, but also gave up over 8 yards per attempt to him, 2 TDs, a 107 rate, best he's looked in a long time.
Shades of 2024 as Cousins finds Mooney.
We'll say it again though, New Orleans defense isn't soft. They make it hard to move the ball, and they've taken the ball away a respectable 13 times. And now they get an INT-prone Tua. Tagovailoa with 13 interceptions, tied for the most in the NFL, sub-90 rate, just 193 yards per game, has to be careful or he may get that call. So, what do you think about being the backup chef in our next ad?
This is a bad decision to me by Tua Tagovailoa.
Not really a sack issue, 21 sacks taken in 11 games, but it's tied to the fact no quarterback has gotten rid of the ball quicker after the snap than he has. New Orleans pass rush now has 24 sacks for the year after getting to Cousins 3 times, Cam Jordan, Chase Young with 1 each, so threats exist.
And he is going to go down for the sack.
Saints DBs only gave up 40-plus yards to 1 Falcon, 74 allowed to Darnell Mooney, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, the primary threat this week, over 700 yards for the year, 5 chances to Waddle.
There he goes, Waddle! Look at him fly! You can kiss him goodbye!
Devon Achane, the second biggest threat in their passing attack, 33 receiving yards per game, 900 rushing yards, so maybe he cracks 1,000 this week, hefty 5.5 yards per carry, and 5 scores on the down low.
Achane, second level, turns on the Jets. Achane, touchdown!
He's attacking a defense that just struggled versus a speed back. Saints gave up 37 receiving yards to Bijan, 70 rush yards, 5 a carry.
You have to contain the edges, certainly with a guy like this.
Miami's defense probably won't have to worry about the run too much. Alvin Kamara left last week hurt. Taysom Hill led them with 10 rush attempts, just 17 yards. It's all about Tyler Shuck anyway, who didn't have a great game versus Atlanta. No touchdowns, 1 pick, just 5.7 yards per attempt for a 74 rating, but 30 of 43 passing, that's a 69% plus completion rate back-to-back games, 240 plus yards back-to-back outings. It's all relative for him.
He's got some zip on that pass to Chris Olave.
Still, looking at an offense last in scoring for the year, 15 a game after only scratching out 3 versus Atlanta, 5 for 16 on third down, 0 for 3 in the red zone.
A disaster for New Orleans in the red zone again today.
And now Shuck and company run into a defense that's playing well lately. Miami had given up 27 plus points in 5 of 6, and then bam, under 14 in 3 of their last 4.
Jack Jones with the interception. Mariota threw it right to him.
Miami's play versus the pass has been strong the last month or so. Less than 210 yards in 4 of their last 5. A big deal for a team that's given up the second highest rating in the NFL.
Knocked away as they were going for Hodge. There was a big-time hit by Trader.
Shuck isn't dealing with a super fierce pass rush, 21 sacks, 11 games. I asked ChatGPT and it said that equals less than 2 a game. But Bradley Chubb is a threat. He leads them with 5.
Chubb jumped on top of him.
And Shuck took 5 sacks at the hands of the Falcons.
Another Atlanta sack.
When he's upright, Chris Olave, his go-to, 9 catches, 70 yards in their latest loss.
There's no question that Olave is the guy in the passing game.
Juwan Johnson, next on the radar usually, 46 yards a week ago.
Nice effort there by Juwan Johnson.
Devon Vele, 37 yards. Devin Neal, 43. Miami, with a 1-game lead over the Saints all time, they've played some exciting games. Give me that 2009 shootout between them, though.
In Miami, their march seemed to grind to a halt when the Saints trailed the Dolphins by 21.
A lot of things going wrong for the Saints thus far, but a long way to go. Bush turns left side, dives for the pylon, he's in. Reggie Bush frees on a quarterback keeper, takes it in as he has scored on the ground twice, and the Saints have taken their first lead of this game.
Matching the biggest comeback in team history, New Orleans roared back to win and stretched their unbeaten streak to 6.
This is a football team that faced a 21-point deficit. Whatever questions this team had not answered before today, they have answered them in very positive fashion.
Tennessee Titans at home this week, trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. Win meter still stuck on the loneliest number. They take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who now have division title aspirations after pulling off an OT win last week, their 3rd victory in their last 4.
Little now from 52, and the kick is perfect.
Say hello to the Captain Jack Sparrows of the NFL. Stumble around half the time looking dazed and confused. Trevor Lawrence throwing 3 INTs versus Arizona. Also lost a fumble. Offense just 3 for 11 on 3rd down. And yet still walked out victors. Still put up 27 points.
To the end zone. Lawrence finding Washington.
Bottom line, they've been good for 27-plus points in 3 of their last 4, and now they're going after a Tennessee defense that's given up 27-plus points in 4 of their last 5, surrendered 30 to Seattle, have allowed 27 per game on average for the year, still haven't figured out how to slow quarterbacks, which has been a year-long issue, gave up 244 yards to Sam Darnold, no picks, over 9 yards per attempt allowed, a rating allowed near 120, their DBs letting Darnold hook up with JSN for 167 yards and 2 scores.
Up for Jackson Smith, and Jigba drops it in the bucket, and he will backpedal for a touchdown.
Titans defense, the Jennifer Melfi of the league, they're the ones to visit when you're not feeling right. Unless your name is Tony, you leave feeling better after seeing them. Kind of defense Trevor Lawrence could use a dose of. 3-pick day versus Arizona left him with an 81 rate. That makes 5 straight games he's left work with a sub-82 rate. His rate for the season sub-80.
Lawrence thinks he has that window to hit Jacoby Myers.
Lawrence still comes in off one of his best 2025 games, though. It's all relative with T-Law this year. He threw 3 touchdowns, went for over 250 yards, a nice 8.5 yards per attempt.
Etienne doing it as a receiver. Etienne for the Jacksonville touchdown.
Did take 3 sacks, has taken 3+ in 4 of his last 6. Until last week, each time it happened, they lost. Titans defense has a healthy sack total, but only found their way to Darnold once, which made it easier for Darnold to find Smith and Jigba. He was the only pass catcher they gave up over 30 yards to. This week, they square off with tight end Brenton Strange. He returned from injury, immediately led the team with 93 receiving yards.
Cardinals rush 4. Lawrence gonna throw it and delivers.
Parker Washington also fared well versus Arizona, scored with 71 yards, almost double his season average.
And Parker Washington, who has been as reliable as it gets, makes that key grab.
Jacoby Myers chipped in 50 yards plus a touchdown. He's been good for 41 to 64 yards in each of his games since coming over in that trade.
Heavy blitz. Lawrence has to work quickly into the end zone. It's Myers.
And Jacksonville's ETN machine was finally flush with cash again. Travis kicked out 30 receiving yards and a score, plus 86 yards on the ground at a 5.7 clip. Hadn't cracked 4 yards per carry his 3 previous games in a row.
ETN busting free. It's a foot race inside Arizona territory.
He's lined up to keep it going, too. Titans gave up 71 yards on 6.5 per attempt to Kenneth Walker. 35 yards and a TD allowed to Zach Charbonnet on 5.8 a carry. Stopping runners, not a strength for them this year either.
Back to Charbonnet. Bouncing to the edge, Charbonnet towards the goal line.
So what about the other side of the coin? Jacksonville's defense took care of business for the second game in a row. Despite their offense giving Arizona extra chances in short fields, Jaguars held their offense to 17 points, 5 for 16 on third down, and 1 for 3 in the red zone.
And a direct snap taken by Greg Dortch, and Dortch is going backwards.
They held the Chargers to 6 points the week before. They're sitting on a respectable 22-point per game average for 2025, set up to keep their defensive momentum going too, being Tennessee's offense is one of 3 teams averaging 15 points per game, only accounted for 17 last week.
They have flushed and gotten Cam Ward out of the pocket multiple times here.
They went 6 for 17 on third down. It's an offense with a season high of 22 points. Cam Ward, though, is showing up to this contest off maybe his best game as a pro. Have to know this kid has spent most of the year paddling upstream with like 1 broken paddle at best. He's making some really nice throws in spots. Over 250 yards versus a tough Seattle defense. No picks, 1 touchdown, a 91 rate.
Ward on the rollout, fires to the end zone, and it's DK with the touchdown.
He hasn't thrown a pick in 3 straight, and he was more decisive about taking off last week, scored his first rushing touchdown, led the team with 30-plus rush yards.
You know, Cam Ward just kind of jumps in behind Chico Okonkwo and has 2 lead blockers to the end zone.
Now he tries to build on that versus a Jacksonville secondary that did just give up over 300 yards to Jacoby Brissett. Didn't pick him off once, 1 TD allowed, but those 317 yards came on 49 pass attempts. They held him to 6.5 per attempt. They are top 10 in rating allowed for the year.
Brissett slinging one, incomplete. And that was played brilliantly.
And check out the pass rush sitch. Even though they didn't have Trayvon Walker, Jags pass rush comes in feeling loose after sharing a Jacoby sixer. Dennis Gardick chugged 1.5, Devin Lloyd 1.5, Josh Hines-Allen knocked 1 back. He has at least 1 in 3 of his last 4, so he's heating up.
Hines-Allen, who has almost 10 pressures in this game, makes the key play.
The door to see Ward is usually wide open. He's a grass aficionado at this stage. Not sure Towley knows it as well. Face planted in it 4 times by Seattle, has taken 3+ sacks 6 straight games now. Nobody easier to track down at home in 2025.
Ward. Pressure again. Ward's in trouble. Down he goes.
When he's not hanging with Cheech and Chong, the candidates to receive one of his balls, Chico Okonkwo, who leads them in yards for the year, 40 last week.
An open is Okonkwo into Seattle territory and out of bounds.
40 to 66 yards 6 times this season for Chig. James Prochet put up a season-high 42 yards. Just his 3rd game played this year.
Over the middle, open, and a first down. It's James Prochet.
Chimere DK, 44 yards, and Ward's lone TD. 3rd game the rookie has left some kind of mark this season.
Midfield and beyond, all the way down the sidelines. DK will take it to the house.
And their lead pass catcher last week, Gunnar Helm, season-high 51 yards.
All kinds of pressure, flips it ahead to his tight end Gunnar Helm. Helm going airborne. Helm fights his way to the 20.
Along the ground, Tony Pollard, 20 yards, 11 tries versus Seattle, so a Ron measly 1.8 a run. That's back-to-back shifts. He's had showings like that too. Jags' rush defense faced 15 rush attempts by Michael Carter and Bam Knight, held them to 40 yards. Jags have taken Tennessee 5 of the last 6 games, one playoff showdown in their history back when they were partying like it was 1999, until it wasn't. Jags went 15-3 that year, all 3 losses to the same team.
Maybe now people know we for real, baby.
The AFC Championship was the third battle between the Titans and the Jaguars, and critics again questioned Tennessee's chances of winning. Momentum shifted the Titans' way when Josh Evans sacked Brunell for a safety.
80 yards, Derek Mason, and Tennessee has surged in front by 11.
And Steve McNair's run swept the Jaguars out of the playoffs.
They're stacked up tight, play action.
Oh my.
McNair looking deep, cuts up the middle, he can run 50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5, dives to the 1-yard line. McNair sneaking, he's pushed by Lorenzo Neal into the end zone. Touchdown, Titans!
But this miracle season was an electrifying and unpredictable one.
OG LA makes its way back to LA this week to rumble with what? The new G LA Chargers? They just had a week off to try and shake off the cobwebs from their last throwdown, which, as Smokey would put it, saw them get knocked the football out. Craig's team, the visitor, the Raiders, who are still right in the thick of it, the it being the race for the #1 pick in next year's draft.
Oh man, Myles Garrett just swats the ball out of the hand of Geno Smith.
You gotta help him.
These are not those 80s Marcus Allen, Howie Long types. These are more Howie Mandel, Vegas stand-up material type Raiders. They are now the butt of plenty of internet meme jokes after losing to the 2-win Browns at home.
Yeah, Shadori, you come here.
Their offense only scoring 10 points. 10, the number of times their quarterback was sacked. 10 points, 10 sacks taken. That's not the kind of double-double we all like to chow on.
And another sack for the Browns.
Vegas's offense, a black hole in and of itself, under 21 points in 6 of their last 7 now. Now onto the Chargers defense, their pass rush, almost a 3-bag per game shopper, 29 in 11 games, Khalil Mack with 4, Odafe Owe seems to enjoy Hollywood. He has 4 in 6 games, and Lawndale's finest, Tuli Tuipulotu, leads them with 8.
And sacked by Tuli Tuipulotu, who is the leader in sacks this year for the Chargers.
When it comes to Janet's question, what have the Bolts defense overall done for me lately? The whole team really is a tale of 3 of the last 4 have been good, the 4th one the dud. For example, the Chargers have held 3 of their last 4 opponents under 21 points. Then 35 points to Jacksonville.
To the end zone, Tim Patrick. And the Jacksonville Jaguars starting to flex.
The secondary Geno faces didn't struggle with Randall Pink Floyd, though. They've held steady versus the pass for the most part, under 155 yards in 4 straight, rating up at the top shelf with the expensive stuff.
And the Bolts are back in business.
Smith, well, he didn't throw a pick last week. That's a win for him this season. 285 yards, a touchdown. I mean, it was one of his better showings of 2025.
Geno Smith looking toward the end zone. Pass complete to Genty. He's in.
Did lose a fumble, and lots of his yards were late when the game was out of reach. Didn't really make headlines, but 285 yards means someone had to eat. Tyler Lockett led the team with 62 yards.
He got locked in with Lockett. He was in front of
Trey Tucker, only 28 yards. Ian Thomas went for 36. Brock Bowers with 55.
Bowers holds on. That's a great catch. They have to get him the ball more often.
Watch how strong his hands are.
And Ashton Genty with 58 receiving yards, an air touchdown, plus 50 rush yards.
He's like a 5'8", 210 ball of muscle.
Wow.
Just runs right through Ronnie Hickman.
Only 2.9 per carry versus Cleveland, so now under 3.6, 6 straight games. Hard to run behind that line. He gets a Chargers front that might be good at getting home, not so great when the ball gets handed off to a running back. They've allowed 4.8 a run to Genty's position. Average is 4.4 for perspective.
Is taking advantage of his rushing attempts.
On to the Raiders defense, also not faring great. 24 points isn't a lot to allow, but when you give it up to a Cleveland offense that had only scored 21 plus all year, it's a different story. And you've allowed 30 plus in 3 of the previous 4 too, and you let Shedeur Sanders win his debut throwing for over 10 yards per attempt, and you only sacked him once. Well, you're not exactly going to send shivers through LA's offense.
But the Raiders really played that poorly.
What can Justin Herbert do with all that? Comes out of his week of rest with solid season numbers, maybe better than solid when you factor in his O-line being decimated. 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, over 240 yards per game. He's not trying to scam anyone here, man.
Right now, this defense really putting together a great game against a high-powered offense.
Are you employed, Mr. Herbert? Yes, even though he only threw for 81 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick for a lowly 44 rating game against the Jags. In turn, the offense is in the same, it was going well until we visited the land of Fred Durst boat, if you will. Chargers offense good for 24 plus points in 5 of their last 7.
Herbert just threw a rocket. Oh, it's just nasty, right?
And then 6 versus the Jags. The key aspect that's been slowing them down lately, the fact LA is using B-listers on their O-line who haven't been able to give Herbert the necessary time to operate. He's taken 13 sacks in their last 3 games, has faced pressure 42% of the time, 8 points higher than the league average.
Herbert smothered Jacksonville.
Mad Max Crosby, the one guy who could be a problem then. No sacks versus the Browns, but man, 3 quarterback hits, 5 TFLs in 1 game. He doesn't care how many wins they have. Remarkable dude to watch play.
Ford is taken down behind the line by Max Crosby, who's turned the dial up.
Raiders DBs gave up a 66-yard pass to Dylan Sampson.
The 40's off to the races. Dylan Sampson to the 30. He breaks free to the 20. Touchdown, Cleveland.
A 52-yard pass to Isaiah Bond.
Isaiah Bond, what a bomb from Shedeur Sanders.
A 39-yard pass to Jerry Jeudy. They played Sanders well aside from those 3 throws. Herbert's buddies. No real consistency game to game with who has the best day at work. Ladd McConkey leads them in yards with 644.
And then you know what else did it? The lad did it.
Keenan Allen leads them in receptions with 56.
Just a great catch, great hands, as good as it gets. But you look at this.
Quentin Johnston leads them with touchdowns with 6.
This is a dime to Johnston.
Rookie tight end Oronde Gadsden already over 500 yards, and he missed 2 games.
He finds his tight end.
Run game resides in the hands of Kamani Vidal, who is primed for a big game if his pattern holds true. Under 31 yards in 3 of his last 6 games, 95 to 124 in 3 of his last 6 games. His last outing, the dud variety, so you know.
Vidal on 3rd down, he's got a lane.
He gets a Raiders rush defense that gave up 2 touchdowns to Quinshon Judkins, held him to 2.9 a run though, just 47 yards, and they've held Vidal's position to 3.9 per attempt for the year, so strong down low at least. This is round 2 between the Bolts and Black Hole. Round 1 back in week 2, a low-scoring affair. LA picked off Geno 3 times, Herbert 240 plus yards, 2 TDs, a 120 plus rate.
Pretend's got it cranked up now.
Chargers have taken Vegas 3 straight, 4 of the last 5. We hit their 1980 playoff meeting back in week 2, so now it's time to revisit that 1978 game that led the NFL to change the rules in the aftermath. Every NFL fan should be well versed with the holy roller game. If you're not, now you will be.
Hank Bauer has put the Chargers out in front again.
We did not beat the Raiders very often. This was a chance for us to put a W up there on the board.
10 seconds to go in this 20-14 ball game. Stabler back to throw. Stabler now being harassed for the first time and gets rid of the ball. Ball is loose, still loose. Picked up, kick into the end zone. Intercepting touchdown. Can you believe it?
It was really a missed call by the officials. Woodrow Lowe had great pressure on Stabler, and he tried to throw the ball underhand, and it was ruled a fumble. And as the ball is being rolled into the end zone, and finally Casper falls on it, and the officials call a touchdown, I'm looking around for a flag or some type of official to step forward and make the correct call.
This one will be relived forever.
The perfect Shedeur Browns are at home this week for the first time this year. Should be a scene, man.
Pressure, running away from it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man. Caught at the 10-yard line.
The San Francisco 49ers headed to what should be a crazed dog pound, hoping not to get bit. They've won 3 of their last 4. Still have work to do to finalize the paperwork on the season extension they're hoping for.
Turned into the team that we see now, which is one of the better teams in the NFL. And
49ers sit at 8-4 and yet are kind of hard to sum up. They get up every morning from the alarm clock's warning, take the 8:15 into the city, people pushing, people shoving. If the train's on time, they get there by 9 and take care of their business. That's about it.
Bryce Young is in trouble and down he goes, sacked by Farrell.
Last week, they took care of their business by playing good defense. They aren't a trendy team, so to speak. Each week, it's a different formula. But they gotta figure, if they can hold the Panthers to 9 points, just 1 for 7 on 3rd down, and pick off Bryce Young twice, hold him to 169 yards, then shouldn't they be able to do that against Cleveland's new hope?
Over the middle and intercepted by Brown for the second time.
Brown's new quarterback is kind of Luke Skywalker-esque, a young dude who's been watched over for a while, has a famous dad who looks like the bad guy to many, but was as good as it gets at what he did. Shedeur Sanders, far from attaining Jedi status, but he just took out his first Death Star on his first try, which no rookie Browns quarterback had pulled off since like Yoda was a teenager.
Fadden makes a nice leaping grab. Fadden trying to get to that first down marker, and he does!
Wow. 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 87 rating, 209 yards on over 10 yards per attempt. It's one of the strangest games you'll see from a quarterback. 157 of his 209 yards came on 3 completions. He only completed 11 passes. That 39-yarder we just saw to Jerry Jeudy, a 66-yard TD to running back Dylan Sampson.
Boom! He bursts inside Raiders territory. 1 man to beat. He won't be caught.
And a 52-yarder to Isaiah Bond, which is what fueled their 24-point outburst on offense. It's considered an outburst in Cleveland, as it's only the second time all year they've scored more than 20 points.
He lowers his shoulder to the goal line. Touchdown, Browns!
Was it a masterpiece? Not at all. 3 for 12 on third down. Sanders was just 11 for 20 passing, lots of room for growth. But he only took 1 sack, and now he gets a defense whose specialty is letting quarterbacks do their thing without feeling pressure. 49ers, still with the fewest sacks in the NFL, only found their way to Bryce once, and they don't sport great numbers against the pass in 2025, so a Brownies optimist can argue Shador is set up for a solid sequel.
And Fannin is tight end, breaks a few tackles, has a first down. That's some heavy running.
Harold Fannin, for the record, Sanders' go-to out of the gate, as he saw 6 targets, twice as many as anyone else, checked out with 40 yards last week, which was almost as many as their running back accrued. Quinshon Judkins only had 47 rush yards versus Vegas, but he did punch it in twice at least.
Joel Bitonio with the big block, and then Judkins runs right through Polamalu.
That is 6 straight games. The rookie hasn't even eclipsed a meager 3.6 per carry. The 49ers defense he draws next didn't play the run great versus Carolina, gave up 5.3 a run to Chuba Hubbard, 6.3 to Rico Dowdle, for a whopping 69 yards total. They only faced 13 rush attempts, so it didn't matter in the end. And lucky for them, neither did Brock Purdy's 3 first-half INTs.
Purdy down the middle for Pearsall, and he's picked again.
Does Cleveland have any aqua black alt uniforms handy? Purdy didn't just get picked off 3 times. Each one seemed gift-wrapped, almost like he was targeting Carolina's defenders instead of his own guys. His INTs the primary reason San Francisco's offense left the game with just 20 points.
Purdy picked again, 3rd 1, 2nd for Horn.
Brock has started 4 games now, has 2 or 3 picks in 3 of the 4 games, which is a little alarming. Their offense went 7 for 13 on third down, 2 for 3 in the red zone, so it wasn't all bad last week, and it's an O that went for 41 points the week prior. But now Purdy has to try and rebound with Myles Garrett coming.
Oh man, Myles Garrett just swats the ball out of the hand of Geno Smith.
Browns held Vegas to 10 points. They're holding it down to a solid 22 per game for the year, just 4.7 yards per play allowed, 5th lowest. And Purdy and his line face a pass rush that just left their last shopping trip with 10 bags. That's a rare feat. Senor Garrett with 3 of them as he attempts to chase down the all-time sack record for a single season.
Pressure's coming. Smith hitches, and he's sacked again!
He's now 4.5 away. He's on a 5-game sack streak that's seen him rack up a season's worth, 14 of them in that span. 3 to 5 sack games in 3 of his last 4. He's on a ridiculous tear.
The play fake to Genty.
Look out.
Pressure's coming. Garrett's got him, and he's going down.
Purdy didn't take any sacks versus Carolina, but Garrett has more sacks than their entire team does, has more than the Bengals and Panthers too. It's crazy. Cleveland's secondary did end up giving up 285 yards to Geno Smith when they weren't dropping him, didn't pick him off. Most of the yards were late when the game was in hand, but 62 yards allowed to Tyler Lockett, a wide receiver, 58 and a touchdown to Ashton Genty, a running back, and 55 yards to Brock Bowers, a tight end. 49ers passing attack usually leans on the same wide receiver, tight end, running back kind of combo meal. George Kittle led them with 78 yards last week.
Purdy keeps. There's Kittle again. We've seen this a lot tonight.
Juwan Jennings caught Purdy's lone touchdown, 41 yards.
Here's Jennings, and he's going to take it in after breaking tackles.
And of course, the centerpiece to the 49ers O-face, CMC. McCaffrey, 53 receiving yards, 7 catches.
He reaches, and he got the first down.
McCaffrey leads the NFL with 81 receptions, up to 785 receiving yards, along with 796 rush yards after laying down 89 of them versus his old team. Found pay dirt against them too.
That allowed McCaffrey to get wide. It's a great drive for San Francisco.
Another sub 4-yard per carry game for him, but he's also first in rush attempts in the NFL, so they don't seem worried. Brown's front he squares up against just held Genty to 50 rush yards on 2.9 a carry, holding backs to 3.8 a run now. Only 5 teams tougher on the position.
Nobody touched Myles Garrett. That's one of the easiest tackles for loss he'll have all year.
Couple of old AAFC foes. Both joined the NFL in 1950. More Browns wins than 49ers wins since then. 1970, probably the most entertaining game between the two.
6 days later in San Francisco, the Browns' offense exploded against the championship-bound 49ers. Leroy Kelly ran for 2 touchdowns, and Bill Nelson passed for over 300 yards. He launched 2 beautifully thrown bombs, both pulled in by Fair Hooker. The result was that for the second straight week, the Browns scored 31 points. But the complexion of the game and the entire season changed quickly when Nelson was hurt. The Browns lost the game and their quarterback.